Hey guys, let me see if I can fix my screen here. We're trying to help her get up.
On her link at the have you subscribed?
Hey guys, let me see if I can fix my screen here. We're trying to help
So
her get up. You have to mute you, Ken.
Do I need to subscribe?
Yeah, subscribe.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, Ken. Let me get Larry to put my information in.
I think it's because of my light.
Larry, I got Ken on here. I got to sign in. You sign me in real fast.
Is that working? Might have to do none. Might have to do that.
Hey, Larry. How you doing? Good, man. Good.
Okay, so we're trying to help her get up here. So if y'all could just give us a few minutes, we'll be on in just 1 second. Talks amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
13 days to Halloween.
13 days to Halloween.
Your fade is messed up.
Stop. You worry about her. I'll worry about me. Is that right? Why is it? I want you to worry about her. I got this. Then stop.
Probably somebody that tried to hack in the account. So many people trying to hack accounts.
Sorry, we're having. So, that's okay, Shellie. We got time. Take your time. We're gonna just chat with people on here. So.
What's this number?
Okay, they're new to this, so give us a few minutes, and we're going to be interviewing Shellie Nations. I talked to y'all this morning about the Danny Hembre case and the bullshit he put her family through, and so I'm going to interview her and let her tell you her side, and then we'll all just kind of chit chat and fellowship. How about that? No, I'm not pissed off. I was getting lazy. Am I looking pissed off? I don't mean to. Yeah, maybe I need a bowl hit.
Yeah.
None of my crap was working when I started.
All right. Now look, do you see the chat? Chat. No, chat. Like you talk.
Oh, chat.
Do you see down here underneath the screen where people are talking?
I still don't see
I'm trying to stay quiet so he can help them.
How do I get to the chat room?
Okay, that's easy. I can tell you. On her page at the top, you see it looks like a fat cop. It says live in the bottom right hand corner. It's got your name, Shellie Nation's interview.
Put your camera on it.
Okay, I can see Cynthia.
You see her broadcasting?
I see her.
Wave, Cynthia. Did you see her wave?
I can see Cynthia,
Okay.
but I still don't see the chat.
Okay.
Why isn't her chat showing, I wonder?
I'm still gonna find the chat. I'm so sorry, y'all.
It's okay. Just stand by. We'll find it. Ask your people how to find the chat. Cynthia.
Well, I'm talking over you, so I'm letting you talk, honey. So how do y'all find chat? Isn't it just...
Okay, I see it. Underneath you see the thumbs up.
Underneath the thumbs up.
You see the thumbs up, and then a thumbs down, and then it says live chat.
No, mine's got a thumbs up, a thumbs down, and a share.
Is she on
And
YouTube?
a report.
Is she on YouTube?
Yeah, but it doesn't have live chat. It says thumbs up, thumbs down, and share.
But if she's subscribed to me, she should be
You
able to come
subscribe
in.
to
Go
her?
all the way out and then click back on this link.
Yeah, did hit subscribe to her channel.
Mama T, how do I give her a link through her Facebook Messenger? Yeah, she's on a phone. I need to send her a link on the phone. I know that y'all usually send one to Liberators or whoever.
Okay, now I see again what you're saying. The little fat cop with the live.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay. Okay, clicked on that and I can see Cynthia.
All right, look underneath it. You got like, dislike, and live chat.
See, mine don't have the live chat. You got the like, dislike, and share button.
Then she's looking at a video. She's not looking in
Do
live
you
chat.
see Cynthia talking?
Does it say don't
Right.
talk to strangers behind me? It says Shellie Nation's interview.
It says Shellie Nation's interview.
Yep. Yep, it says Shellie Nation's interview and I can see you well and it says don't talk to strangers behind you, but there is no chat. That just don't make sense to me.
Okay, Mama T said that I can copy and paste it in her messenger on Facebook. So let's just do that.
Go to
Messenger on
Messenger,
Facebook. And we're just
and
going
I
to drop
sent
it to
you
you
a
like
link
that.
there. And just click on that link and see if that brings you in.
Okay, I'm gonna go out and go to what you sent me.
Messenger.
Click on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause she doesn't necessarily have to be on YouTube to be in StreamYard.
Yeah.
Featuring a broadcast studio.
Right?
That's it.
Is that
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, live broadcast. That's me.
Yes.
Okay, now here's the options. It says
She needs to make her screen smaller to see the chat underneath.
it says click here.
Mm-hmm.
Try that.
And then we'll bring you up and put a picture up in front if you don't want to be on camera. We've got photos.
I can turn the camera off, so it'll just be the thing.
This is just, I'm on the visit, this is Chrome page, but do I need to copy link, install the Chrome mobile?
You just push the link.
Push the link. That should
Bring you right up.
Or copy it and put it in your search bar.
All she has to do is push it.
I'm gonna go over to the YouTube app.
No, do it through Chrome.
She can just pull up StreamYard. She doesn't have to be on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just StreamYard.
They do it through the Chrome.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
once she's in
I
StreamYard.
have to install the Chrome mobile browser to do that.
I don't know.
StreamYard, where would I put it in at? I copied the link, so where would I put it in, Ken?
I don't know. Let me click it and see.
She should have just been able to push that link and come right
Okay,
up.
when you click that link,
She
you
should be able
get
to
something that
enter.
looks like this,
Just push the link.
and you just
Click
hit Enter Studio. Do you see that page?
Can you send me that link?
This is the link I sent you in Messenger.
Yeah, the stream Chrome, but when I go to it, it's I don't send you this, Cam, because this is what it's giving me. That way you can see exactly what it's giving.
Just turn your camera around and show me your. Oh, you can't. You're on your camera.
Mama T's offering to help. Can you read what she's saying? She's really good at this.
Oh, turn off your YouTube and do it through
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Okay, so you want me to go back and go to the StreamYard again, okay?
Yeah, turn off YouTube or close out of YouTube.
Okay, it's closed out, but it's still giving me the same page.
Okay, let me look at what this page says.
Maybe if we could see what she's looking at, we can help her.
Yeah, she sent it to me.
Okay, good. Okay.
Do you have a Chrome browser on that phone?
She just asked you if she needed to download it.
Yeah, click. It says click here if you don't have it. If you don't have on this device, copy the page link and install it. Okay, so go ahead and install it right quick.
Okay, Mama T is going to come up and help.
Okay.
Is there a...
One thing is like, he's better at this stuff than I am. He's sitting here all night waiting on me to do it again. Alright, I need you just.
Okay, there, Mama T.
This mobile browser. Let Ken walk you through the steps.
Hey, Larry.
There you go. So it's right here, honey.
Larry, I sent her a link, and she has to evidently open it in Chrome.
She shouldn't need Chrome to open it. It could be opened in Google.
Let me see. What's this?
Say that again, Mama T.
I said she shouldn't have to open it in Chrome. It should be able to just open it through regular Google.
Oh.
It's just StreamYard. All she has to do is go up to the top and push it at the top where it says StreamYard. You push that link at the very top. It should bring her right into StreamYard.
I wish they could talk to each other.
Where'd she get the link?
I sent it to her in her Messenger.
We can send it again.
I can send it again if you need it.
She shouldn't have to have Chrome or download anything to have it at all.
Does he know how to get on YouTube? Okay.
Yes.
Tell him just to push the at the very top is the link. Just push that at the very top where it says StreamYard at the very, very top of it. It'll have that link. Push that link. It'll bring you into StreamYard. Then you wait for it to upload. She can click off her camera, put her name in there, and then enter the studio.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
Well, hello, everybody.
Mama T, you still there?
Yes, I am.
She doesn't want to be on camera, so before I add her to stream, how does she cut her camera off?
Okay, it should say mic, cam, and more, or settings.
Hold on, I'm going
Does
to
she
turn the
see
volume
that?
up so she can hear you. Say it again.
It
Yes,
should say mic, cam, and settings, or more, either or.
She said it's fine, so she's online.
Oh, honey, you can turn off your video camera. You see where it says cam right there?
She said it's okay. She says, okay, thank you, Mama T.
You're welcome. I'm jumping down.
Okay,
Anytime,
so
Gypsy.
I'm hearing echo. Hey, Shellie.
Hey,
Put me
Cynthia,
back
I'm
down
sorry
so
it
I can
took
be
so
beside
long.
her.
Oh, I'm going to drop off.
Okay, bye. Now put me
Here,
beside
hold on,
her.
turn mine up. I can't hardly hear you.
Okay, let's see if
I think it's my
just turn
phone.
my volume up here.
Shelly, you got your volume up?
You
Yeah, I'm
need
gonna
to
put my
mute
headphones
you.
in. I can't hardly hear you, Cynthia. Can you?
He's got my volume turned down. Can you hear me
My
now?
phone. Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you're really low.
Okay, why do you have me turned down so low?
I'm gonna try to put my headphones in and see if they help.
Okay. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me okay.
Yeah. Can you turn your volume up a little bit, Cynthia? I'm having a hard time
Yeah, I
hearing you.
will. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Okay. I talk loud anyway.
It's okay.
It's
How
been a
have you
minute since I
been?
got to see you. Hey.
It's good to see you too. I'm glad to see you with a smile on your face.
You always look so pretty.
Huh?
You always look so pretty. Your hair's always so pretty.
Oh, honey, I'm a mess. I have ran my grandbabies
No,
all
you
day
look
today,
so pretty tonight.
but thank you. I appreciate that. But they have ran me today.
Mine just graduated in March and moved out, got him a job and a car, and I'm not doing too good. I miss him terribly.
Cynthia, I still cannot hardly hear you. Can you turn it up a little bit? I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Let me see if this is an output speaker.
Ask her if her volume is turned up.
Okay. Okay, Ken says check your volume too.
Yeah, I've got mine all the way up.
You do? Okay, I do too.
Yeah.
Sarah said she hears both of you fine.
Okay. Well, pretty much I've already gone over the as much as I could what all he put y'all through with the trial and then the mistrial and then saying that he slept with the ADA and all that mess. I mean, that was a soap opera, wasn't it? I can imagine it was hell on you.
Very bizarre. I mean,
Yeah.
Very bizarre. But you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with people like Danny Hembre and other criminals, so to speak, that have lived that lifestyle and that's all they have did all of their life. We have to keep in mind these are people that have learned how to work our system. They have learned to use it to their benefits, as sad as that is. But he knew the things to say to get mistrials. He knew the things to say to benefit him. And as sad as that is, he knew by saying he had slept with that prosecutor that was going to be a conflict of interest.
Where did he get that idea, though? I mean, my God, where did he even get that idea? Probably jail.
When he said that, of course, the prosecutor was just blown away. And, I had come to learn Miss Hamlin very well, and she was a very good prosecutor, and she was a very professional prosecutor. She done her job well.
Mm-hmm.
I never questioned. I never even had to question, could this have happened? Because we knew this didn't happen. We knew this was just another one of his ploys.
Mm-hmm.
But as a prosecutor, we can only imagine how that would have felt for her. I mean, She has a husband and a family.
Oh,
So
that's right. You're
for
right.
us, it was like personal attacks that he was taking on anyone he could take a personal attack on. He was taking it.
Tell us
And that's
about
tough.
this infamous letter that they read on Dateline and on the news about this life of luxury. I mean, how are they treated on death row and in prison, you think, according to him?
Well, when he wrote that letter, I do not think he realized um, what was going to happen for him. I think in his mind, when he wrote that letter, it was his way to take a jab at me and my family. It was probably a way for him to take a jab at the Cathertons as well. But he didn't realize by saying the things that he was saying, he was actually opening two doors to give us some insight on what's really going on in our justice system.
Yes,
Pretty much spelled it out for us. In not my words, but his words. He boasted of living a life of leisure and how he was eating 3 well-balanced meals a day and taking naps at will, and basically said he would watch TV and I mean, that was hard. I'm just burying my sister, and then I'm listening to this man write in a letter to my local paper, boasting of his life of leisure. It was tough, and it was taking a jab at my family, but I never could, and I still do not understand why the Gaston Gazette did not come to me and my family and say, hey, this is what's been written. We just woke up the next day, and it was in our local paper.
Oh, wow.
And that was tough for me because my mom had been through so much and my dad had been through so much. The last thing I wanted them to have to do was read a letter of the man who had taken their daughter, boasting about it, how well his life was. And that kind of lets us know
he was controlling the narrative at that point. Exactly. He was really controlling the narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. I think at that time, he was caring more about laughing in our face than realizing that somebody's going to come in and we're going to do everything we can to shut your TV off, stop your naps at will, and make sure you're not living a life of leisure anymore. And I did make that my mission. I spoke with it was Representative Tim Moore. And I have to say, by speaking with Representative Tim Moore, he did tell me that he would go through that prison, and anything that he could take away legally, he would take away, because I don't think we need people to tell us that what he done was wrong,
right?
Because right. It was clearly wrong. You don't do that to people. But I definitely think we need reform. We definitely need reform in our prison system.
Yeah, it seems like they would be teaching them a skill, cutting hair or something like that, instead of sitting around getting iPads. I mean, I can't tell you how many new accounts Victor has had since my daughter's murder. And you go and look at his infraction sheet, he's getting higher than anybody on the corner. It's substance, won't submit to a drug screen. It's like he's getting high just like he was out here.
Oh, yeah. And I've noticed that about Danny Hembre too. He's had a few infractions I think it was 1 or 2 infractions he's had for drugs, his medications or whatnot. And in my case, this is a man who has escaped prison twice already. So when he's writing letters into my local Gazette, I'm fearing for my family, because somebody who's already escaped prison twice, you have to wonder if they get out or they're able to escape again, how much danger am I in? How much danger is my children in? So these are things I had to worry about. So that's why I moved out of Gaston County, is because that's just not a risk I was willing to take with my family.
Right, I agree. I worry about the same thing with my kids being in the area, and what if one of them gets out? Just the thought of it, pumping gas next to them, or being beside of them eating popcorn in a movie, and he turns over and it's Victor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So they got to get it right first go around, because that's not
But what's even sad. makes it even all the more sad is at the end of the day, Cynthia, we can put our loved ones' murderers behind bar. We can be advocates for them. But when it's all said and done, who is there for us? You know,
Yeah.
we're left with the scars. We're left with the damage that's been inflicted on us, and not only us, but our family, our loved ones. There was times I couldn't fall apart because I knew I had to be there for my mom. I knew I
Same.
had to take care of my sister's kids. So there was a point where I know for a good 4 years after losing Randy, I don't even know what all I did in those 4 years because your mind's just in places that you just don't even fathom that a mind can go. Um, but it was a very rough time for me, you
And
know.
you were raising her children too with yours,
Yeah,
right?
well, I have her middle son, and her oldest son was with me at least half the time, if not more. The only one I don't keep is her youngest son. He is with his dad. But
Mm,
that was my focus, you know. Once we lost Randy, my focus was taking care of her kids and giving them some normality in their lives.
right,
So
right. And plus that's all we've got left of them. You
yeah,
know, and as my grandson would age, I could see my daughter in him, and it
yeah.
made me want to put him in the basement, and protect him. It's so scary. If you wanted to share how they met, that part was foggy to me, and I didn't want to rely on news to tell me. You tell me what you want us to know about your sister and how she met Danny.
Well, from my understanding, um, Randy nor my family, any of us, we did not know Danny Hembre. Um, Before her murder, I had never seen this man in my life. Um, from my understanding, Randy was at a friend of hers' home. They had been having a little get together there, and Randy had been drinking a little that night. Um, and from my understanding, Danny Hembre came in along with his girlfriend, Nicole Catherton, and her mother, Stella. And when they came in,
His mom
the
was
the
there.
homeowner, huh?
His mom was there.
Not his mom.
Oh,
Nicole Catherton's mama was
oh,
with
okay.
them.
I got you.
But from my understanding, the homeowner told me that they came in and they were looking for crack cocaine and Xanaxes. And somewhere along the lines, um, Nicole Catherton, which is Danny's girlfriend, he starts she starts feeling like her boyfriend Danny is looking at my sister. So the jealousy begins. Um, and she kind of starts arguing backwards and forwards with Danny. And my sister Randy sees what's going on, and she finally intervenes and she says, "Listen, I don't want any part of this. I'm just going to leave. You know, I
Mhm.
think it'll be best if I just leave." So Randy calls her sponsor, and her sponsor is coming to pick her up. So she walks up the road to meet her sponsor. And the homeowner tells us that when he sees Randy walk up the road to go meet her sponsor, he said next thing he knows, Danny's still arguing with this Nicole, and he breaks off from Nicole and he goes and he leaves. He gets in his car and he leaves. From what we can gather, Danny went up the road to leave, as he said. He didn't leave. He took Randy from where she
The
was waiting on
road
her sponsor at.
from the
Randy didn't
road.
willingly go with him. Randy did not know him. She may have seen him in passing, maybe with other friends. I can't say she didn't, but he is no one we knew as a family. He is no one I ever seen with Randy. He's no one I ever heard her even speak of. So that's he just came in one night, and that was the first time he had laid his eyes on her, from my understanding.
Which is why I was talking about don't talk to strangers. It's so easy. He looked so much like Indiana Jones in some of his photos, just like Harrison Ford when I was telling my story earlier, I would have bummed a cigarette off of him. I would have gone in the back of a bar and smoked a joint with him. He looked normal,
Yeah.
for what I could see. And then when he went to prison is when I started to see a decline physically in him. But as far as what I've talked to him, yeah, he looked pretty, regular to me. So it's so
Yeah.
easy to, even online to be trusting,
And that's why I tell these young girls, and I've had people even ask me, why do you continue? I continue because I've already lost the only sister I have. I'll never get her back. But if there's any hope of saving any young girl out here,
Right.
that's my mission. But I tell these young girls, you have to understand, the devil smiles too. He smiles too. And these people that are out here killing these young girls, they look as normal as you and I. Um, these are not people that look scary or somebody we would run from. In most cases, these are people that look just like you and I. They build up our trust until they
Mhm.
get us in a vulnerable situation.
Right.
So that's why I tell these young girls, just because someone's kind to you or they're nice to you, don't ever let your guard down. Don't go by looks, because looks is not telling who that person is.
Right, and they're so manipulative with their mind fuck, excuse my French, but they can really get in your head and make you think that you can trust them,
Yeah.
They're
It's a manipulation tactic.
manipulation,
Yeah.
the art of manipulation, definitely. When he picked her up, what happened at the house? Did they go looking for him?
Well, from my understanding, when he picked Randy up, he took Randy from that spot. And the next known place was he had taken Randy to this abandoned trailer. When he took Randy to this abandoned trailer, um, this was the hardest part for me, because I knew at this point, from the way they described it to me, I knew at this point Randy knew, she was going to die, or he was going to try to kill her at this point.
Gosh,
Because when he got her at the trailer,
do you think
he
she
actually
fought?
tried to kill Randy there. He had tried to strangle her to death there, and he did strangle Randy, but Randy didn't die. Randy passed out, but Randy actually set back up, being disoriented, not knowing what's just happened here. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when he realized he didn't kill her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, when Randy raised up, she had to have known he was trying to kill her at that point. So at that point is probably where he subdued her at, to where she wasn't able to just run or to get away from him. Because I know at that point, Randy was a very smart girl. Randy would have tried to have left. Randy would have tried to leave. She wouldn't have just stayed in somewhere trying to kill her. So he tried to kill her at this trailer. That was not successful for him. So in Randy's autopsy, Randy's nose was broken. She was hit hard enough to where her whole face was shattered here. So
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if it was that point that he hit her and he actually took her from that trailer from one point to another, because at some point he took her from this trailer to his mother's house. He took her
Uh-huh.
to his mother's home. And that's where he actually ended up killing her. And he killed Heather there as well.
In his mom's basement?
Yeah, in his mom's basement. See, he done all the killings at his mother's home. But before he killed Randy at his mother's home, he had actually had her at this trailer, you see, and he tried to kill her there, but that was not successful. So I don't know if he hit her there to knock her out, or if he just took her from that trailer to the house.
Was there ever a weapon? Did he do you know that he ever pulled a weapon on her?
I don't know. They never mentioned
A gun
a
or
weapon
anything?
at that point. From my understanding, he just used his force. His
Wow, was
hands
he a
at that
big
point.
guy? He looks big
Oh
from
yeah,
the
he
photo.
was a very big guy.
He looks
He
big.
was over 6 foot tall. He had to have been every bit of 6'2", 6'3", And
Yeah, he's
Randy
smaller than Lock Bell.
yeah, she was a smaller girl.
Yeah, very petite, beautiful girl. Beautiful. I
So,
still look
it
at her
wouldn't have
photos.
taken a lot for him
Gorgeous.
to have overpowered her.
Okay, so he kept her for a couple of days, right?
Well, after killing Randy, he actually killed Randy there at his mom's home. After he got her there, he killed her there at his mom's home. After killing Randy, he actually took her downstairs to his basement, and he put her in a cabinet. Randy's body was so small that she fit into this cabinet. He put Randy's body in this cabinet, and he left Randy there for 3 days. And
Wow. And his mother never suspected anything? Nobody ever could, tell someone had been there?
the mother said she wasn't there. She was never
Oh,
there. She was
oh,
never
okay.
there. It. I don't believe that, and I'm just being honest with you. I'm not
Gotcha.
saying she was there during the murders, but I don't believe that 2 young girls has been killed in your home. Blood is all over your den, all up and down your hall, all down your basement, and you've got a girl decomposing for 3 days in your basement.
And you
You
can't
don't smell
tell?
anything. You don't
I'm
see
with you.
anything.
I
I
agree with
don't believe it.
you. Yeah, that was a mother. To me, he's a narcissist. And usually
Yeah.
narcissists, sociopathic narcissists have a weird relationship with their mother. Their mother is always, oh, well, honey, it's okay. It's somebody else's fault. It wasn't your fault. It's always SOD, some other dude, is what they say in law enforcement.
Yeah.
It's always some other dude. And I can see that with her and him,
Yeah.
and his deviancy and sociopathy. I can see that. Did she
Well,
come
as
to
we
trial?
yes, she did come to the trial, but as we went through this trial, it became obvious to me they had enabled his behavior for so long that he really thought he could get by with these things. I mean, because he had done these things for so long, and he
Mm-hmm.
had been enabled by his family members for so long, and the people around him evidently, because this is pretty obvious to me why he continued on. No one ever held him accountable, not even the
Right.
justice system, because when he would go into prison, he would get out. I mean, go back to doing the same thing. I don't even understand why he was out of prison to begin with. He should have never been free, in my opinion. He should have
Right.
never been free.
Right.
I mean, this was a man, he was a violent offender. This wasn't a man who was just stealing our barbecues at night or
Mm-hmm.
stealing bicycles. This was a
Right.
man who was sticking guns in people's face, robbing hotels.
Deviant.
He was a danger to society.
Mm-hmm. What happened with Heather? Do you know that story? Do you know how that came about?
You know, little Heather wasn't but 17 years old. I mean,
That's what I
her
thought.
whole life.
I wonder if she
She
knew
was
his
just a
son.
baby.
Because, see, my daughter knew Danny's son. She went to Hunter Huss.
Yeah,
Well,
I remember you telling me
could
that.
that be how Heather knew through his
Huh?
son? I wonder if Heather knew Danny through Danny's son.
He may have. I mean, she may have.
Because he
But
went to
I'm
Hunter
learning.
Huss. Yeah.
Well, I'm learning here now that Danny's son, he's got into some pretty bad trouble here recently.
Yeah.
So I take it that he's going down the same road as his dad.
Right.
Well, I don't want to say as his dad. I hope he never gets that bad. And I
Right.
do hope and pray that he gets his life together and he takes himself down another path, because I don't hold him accountable for what his dad done. I really don't. I mean, those were just children, but at the same time, he's not a child anymore. Now he's
Right.
coming into manhood. It's time to be held accountable for your actions. And if somebody doesn't hold this young man accountable, we're going to see a replay. We're going to see a replay.
Yeah, I wondered, when I sleuthed his son and I found my daughter on his friend list, and then I saw that they all went to school together. I thought, I wonder if he was using his son to lure girls. It makes
Yeah,
you
I mean,
wonder.
that's something I had thought about, Cynthia, and that could very well have been the case, because he was getting with very young girls. I mean, these were young girls.
Yeah,
These,
come on, I'll go smoke a joint with you, or come on, I'll give you a blunt, And the way he looks, I would have gone and smoked a blunt with him. So I could see how it happens,
yeah, I mean, it was just so sad.
Yeah, I mean, normal on the outside, but so disturbed on the inside,
Yeah.
know?
The type of disturbed this person is, I don't think I watch a lot of true crime, and I
Yeah,
don't think I've actually seen anyone as disturbed as him on the level he's at.
yeah.
It's just,
When we were watching the video of when they took him to the crime scene, he acted like he was just pointing out, there's my bike. He was just
yeah.
talking about a peanut butter sandwich. No
It's
remorse.
as if he was boasting about it. It's like he was proud of it. Did you
Yes.
hear him when he said, "That's the flashlight that Heather tried to beat me off with"?
He
When
just
they
acts
walked
like
him in the kitchen, there was a flashlight sitting there, and poor little Heather Catherton had tried to pick the flashlight up because it had been downstairs, and she had tried to fight him off with that flashlight. And I remember the investigator just went over and bagged the flashlight when he said that.
wow. I
So
noticed
to
he had,
listen to him, it's like he was boasting about these things.
yes, definitely. It's almost like he wanted infamy. And I
Yeah.
know I know that you have a book out, or what's his name? Phelps wrote a book about this, The Killing
Yeah.
Kind.
Yeah.
And in the book, when I was reading it, it talked about he would ride. Is that right? He would ride kind of looking for girls. Is that true?
He would what?
Ride looking around, for girls. He was scoping, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
several years since I read it. If I'm
Yeah,
wrong,
he was on
like
he
always
was on
always on the prowl is what I'm trying to say. Always on the prowl.
yeah. Yeah, I think, because I don't think Randy and Heather was the only girls that he
No,
killed.
he says
I,
6.
yeah. I
He
really believe there was much more.
Yeah, he said in prison, when the article I read today, that he's admitted to 6, but everybody thinks there's even more than that.
Yeah. Well, the young lady that he cut up in the Miss Ratchford, they were never able to get enough evidence to
Right.
convict him of Miss Ratchford's murder. But I'm pretty convinced that he killed Miss Ratchford. Him and another man had killed her, from my understanding. But they actually cut her up in a graveyard and left
And
her
how
there
old
to
was
die.
she? How old was
Huh?
she? How old was she?
Miss Ratchford, I believe she was in her 30s, 40s. I believe she was in her
Wow.
40s, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually went to school with Miss Ratchford's son. And
Wow.
it really makes me sad that no justice was ever given to Miss Ratchford. It hurts my heart to think that they done
I
what they done to
appreciate
her
you
and they got by with that.
coming and sharing this with us. I know it's difficult to talk about, but I think I was talking over you and you said he did what to her? You said that he dismembered her and then he took her to a graveyard?
No, actually, they were at the graveyard.
They were at the
Uh,
graveyard.
I don't know how they got to the graveyard. I don't know if they were already there or if she was there and they came up on her. I'm not real sure about that. But they cut her up at that graveyard. They cut her all over her body, and Miss Ratchford laid there and died alone in that graveyard. Now, as far as dismembering her, I don't think they dismembered her. I think they just cut her up, and the bleeding was just so bad that Miss Ratchford didn't make it. They found her, I think, the next day at the graveyard there in Gastonia, off
Is
Franklin
she?
Boulevard.
Yes, that's okay. It wasn't Randy. I thought it was Randy that was there, but it was Miss
Yeah,
Ratchford.
that was Miss Ratchford.
Okay, yeah. I stayed at that hotel right next to it all the time, and I kept telling my husband, if you only knew the story, you wouldn't want to stay here.
Yeah.
So, and, it's almost as though his crimes were right there, right out, and it wasn't way out, where nobody would go looking. His crimes were right there in the city limits.
He was very brazen. I mean,
very,
very brazen. And you know what blows my mind, Cynthia, is, I'm a very spiritual person,
Yes, I know.
I believe in God, and I remember when Randy was first killed, we didn't know who killed Randy. We had no idea. We had no idea. And I remember, I went in my bathroom and I began to pray, and I asked God, I said, God, whoever's done this, just lay it on their hearts to where they have to confess what they've done. And, it was so bizarre to me, Cynthia, of how they got him. He didn't call in or anything like that. What he did was they caught him during a robbery over in Charlotte. And when they caught him for that robbery, they took him in. And when they took him in, he said, you need to call Gaston County. I've got some murders for you.
Holy
Instead
shit.
of talking about the robberies, he waited for Gaston County's investigators to get to Charlotte, and he started confessing the murders.
Damn.
They asked him later on, why did you start confessing the murders on a robbery charge? Because that doesn't make, sense.
Right.
He said the reason he did that was because he was trying to get out of the robbery charge.
What a moron.
Now, I thought.
So he wasn't real smart like, huh?
All I could think is, ain't God good? Ain't God good? If this crazy man really thought this was what was going to happen here. And by then, he had already given everything up. The investigators done a great job of getting all the evidence they needed to pin him up with it before they let him realize you can't confess the murder.
Did they let those charges go in Mecklenburg, or was he tried in Mecklenburg and then Gaston?
Oh no, he was tried on those two.
Oh,
and
good.
Actually, the people at the hotel testified against him that he had put a gun in their face and robbed them there. So that that part went very well as far as being able to get the robbery charges. Yeah.
Him. Was he a regular at L&L?
A regular where?
At L&L?
Leather and
Lace? No.
I wouldn't know because, like I said, we did not know him. I had never seen him in my life.
It just seemed like his crimes were in that area. I wondered if he was a regular there, like got his jollies and then went looking for a girl. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you know Gaston County, you know that that L&L is a place that a lot of men, so to speak, frequent in and out of. And
even elite go there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just, all kinds of people go in this place. I've lived in Gaston County all my life, and I had walked in there one time, and I just don't understand the process there. But
right.
I had walked in. I was just kind of curious what this place was, and I went in one time and knew I wouldn't be back. It just wasn't the place for me. It wasn't for me.
I'll tell you something funny. I went way before the overhaul. This was when you were probably a kid, like in the early 90s. I want to say it was in 92. And the joke was there's 7 dancers and all of them together is a full set of teeth. So back then it was like a hole in the wall. But now it's like, they fixed it up. It's 2 stories. It's beautiful. And I've even had to take clients there from where I used to be in sales. So it got really fixed up and overhauled. But I thought, where'd they get the money? Where'd they get that money?
If that's what they choose to do, hey,
right,
let them do it. But I just know who it wouldn't be for me. It wouldn't be our cup of tea. But, the fact that they do all that isn't what bothers me. What gets me is you get 2 or 3 of them together and they don't have a brain between them. You can't put their heads together and find one brain. That's what's bothersome to me.
getting back to your story, when all this was happening, and honest, from start to finish, how many years did all that take? From
For the trials,
from the beginning when you found out that she's gone to when he was finally put away, I assume for life. Is that right? He was put away for life finally after it was all
well,
said
he's
and
got
done.
36 years plus. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So, see, that's another reason we wanted the robbery charges. We needed him convicted on the robbery charges because, see, I mean, sad as it is, it's like a cat and mouse game with the justice system. You get him convicted on one, and you just never know when that case will be overturned. So, you need another conviction to see to it. Even if this one's a conviction, you have this one to fall back on to keep him in prison. So, that was our goal, to get as many convictions as we could, just in the event that anything could be overturned.
Did
So
he ever
we
commit
was,
crimes with a friend?
huh?
Was he ever committing crimes with a friend?
Oh yeah. I believe he committed a crime when they killed Miss Ratchford with a friend. There was another man there with him. I can't remember that man's name, but he did have a man with him then
Did
that
he
he
ever
was running with,
confess?
and they did that crime. But for the question you asked me, it took years, Cynthia. I went through about, I think it was 3 trials.
Holy
3
cow.
trials. Because one was a mistrial, and then the other one was, I mean, it was just something every time. So I think it chopped up to be about 3 trials. And now you have to keep in mind, each trial was about $500,000. I mean, this is state funds. This is how state funding is being wasted. Okay.
Yes.
Now, Locke Bell said after getting this conviction, he even said he would no longer try death penalty cases. And the reason he said, I believe the reason he said that he would not try any more death penalty cases is because it doesn't do any good. It
It
just
was all
doesn't
in
do any
vain.
good. I mean, you can get the conviction, you can put them in prison, but they're never going to kill them. They're
Right.
never going to follow through with that sentence.
Right.
Back then, I don't know about now, but back then, no one had been executed in the state of North Carolina for years.
Mhm.
Years. I haven't looked at it lately, but I still don't think anyone has been executed for years in the state of North Carolina. So what good is it doing to eat taxpayers' money up to get these convictions if we're not going to follow through with it?
And doesn't it kind of give them more access to legal if they are a capital murder? If they are in there on death row, they have access to pretty good legal, don't they?
You would think. But
Because I used to date a criminal lawyer here in Winston-Salem, where I live now, and he gave his all, and he's a damn good criminal lawyer, with a death penalty case, and it was
Cynthia, do
all
you have
pro
something in
bono.
front of your speaker?
Huh, it says trigger warning, mature audiences.
No, I
only.
mean, do you have something in front of your speaker because you come in really good and then you got low?
I backed up. I'll just sit up close again. Is that better? Is that
I think
better?
you might have a little short or something somewhere because you're real low on my end.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You're just low. So if I don't
Okay.
hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay. Can y'all hear me in the chat? They just sit like regular inmates. Okay. Your sound is good on this end. Okay, thanks, Sarah. Did y'all have any questions for Shellie? I don't mean to be hogging the whole conversation. The last person executed in North Carolina was Samuel Flippin, who was put to death on August 18th, 2006 for the murder of his 2-year-old stepdaughter.
So years.
Yeah. I know that they were having problems with the cocktail too, right?
With what?
The cocktail that they use to kill you with, I guess the lethal injection.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has been put into question, but in my opinion, I don't think it should matter if you're being put to death by a firing squad or a cocktail, or lethal execution. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. You're dying. You're dying. I mean,
Right, exactly. Exactly what I was saying. Um, did anybody in chat have questions for? I'm gonna see if anybody wants to ask you anything here. This light is really bright. Okay. Okay, Alicia, did you want to ask something? Does anybody want to come up too?
I can't see any questions. Am I supposed to, Cynthia?
She
'Cause
may
I
have been
can't see 'em.
she may have been answering me. She wants to
Oh.
know how did he escape twice?
Well, the first time, from my understanding, they told me that he had actually hit a guard and scaled a wall. Now the second time, I'm not completely 100% on it. How he done the escape the second time, but I know the first time he hit a officer and he was able to scale the wall before they could catch him.
Good question, Alicia. Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about this, but I think they told me the second time that he escaped, he had hit an officer, but I'm not sure how he maneuvered his way out the second go round.
Was that in county or down in Raleigh?
I don't know. I never thought to ask. But
When
you know,
go ahead. Oh, Ken is asking, when you jumped up in court and they drug you outside, what were you saying?
No, what did they say to her?
well, that was a bit chaotic. But you know, in that moment, I want to say, that's nothing I anticipated doing. That's nothing I had went there and planned to do. But when you sit through something like this and you have sat through it 3 trials and you've heard over and over how this man has taken the life of your sister, set her on fire and just threw her out like trash, and then he has the audacity to turn around and smile at you. I mean, you just really lose your mind, guys. I mean, you do. You just really lose your mind.
I
And
understand that. I did several times.
I remember jumping up, and it was the fact that he was still playing this game. And it was just bothering me so badly at this point. I jumped up and I told him, I said, "You killed my sister. And you killed my sister." And I said some ugly words I probably shouldn't have said, but they had bailiffs drag me on out of there. And when they got me out, they told me they actually had a woman bailiff take me from out there. They put me up against the wall and they arrested me just like they would have anyone else. And she told me that she understood that I was very emotional at the time, but they took me downstairs and they put me in a jail. They put me in a holding cell, and I sat there for about 30 minutes or so. And next thing I know, they came back. The bailiff came back, and she said that the judge wanted to see me. But what bothered me so much about this, it wasn't the fact that they put me in the jail cell, because I understand they had to have order in the courtroom, and I was very sorry for being disrespectful to the judge's court. But what bothered me the most about it was when they came back down to get me and they took me before the judge. I'm standing in handcuffs, and I look over at the man who's killed my sister.
And he's not.
And he's not even in handcuffs. That's when you really realize that there is something really wrong here.
Right.
But I told the judge, I probably shouldn't have said some of the things I said, but as I told the judge, he told me he would have, well, first the judge told me he would need order in his court, and I did respect that. But he made the mistake of asking me, did I have anything to say? And I told him, yes, I did. I said, first of all, I called him a murderer. And I said, he is a convicted murderer. And I said, second of all, I said, I called him a SOB. And I said, opinions are like assholes. We all got one. And that is my opinion of him. And at that point, you know, I think the judge just didn't know what to do with me because I was so angry and I was very upset. And he didn't want to arrest me, but he couldn't have me being disrespectful in his courtroom. So he
You were
ordered
my
that
hero that day, though, because I felt your
he
pain.
kind of just hit his gavel. He said, okay, that's it. That's it. They pretty much closed court for that day.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like they treated you with respect?
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, I have to say the Gaspé County Police did treat me with the utmost respect. They were very understanding of what I was going through and what I had been through and what I was dealing with at the time. Because you have to remember, my aunt was there, and when I lose it in this courtroom, my aunt jumps up. She said, he's killed one. Now the other one's being arrested. I mean, like I was saying, it was chaos and it was a lot for my family too. And when I reacted like I reacted, I didn't think about what I was putting my family through. If I would have had the opportunity to have thought of that, I probably wouldn't have reacted the way I did. But when you're acting on emotion, you don't think.
No, I
And
think
I
you
did.
did great. I think you did great. You were my inspiration, and why I didn't just sit and let them tell me what was going to happen and how it was going to go. And I wasn't afforded the same respect you were. I was left in the dark about a lot of the case, and it pissed me off early on. And that's why I formed the page that I did. And I got a salty taste in my mouth for Gaston County then.
Yeah.
I felt like they were treating my daughter as though she was just a common drug user and her life didn't matter. And I wasn't going to take that. Her life did matter.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah, her life
And you
did
never
matter.
should have.
Yeah.
Because her
And
life did matter.
yeah, I pulled out all the stops and then they brought in Jeff Jackson. So when that happened, then I felt like I was getting some respect because he's a very respectful senator. And I agree with his platform and I have a lot of respect for him. And he knew how to talk to me. Locke Bell, I wanted to punch in the nose. I'm sorry, but he was an asshole to me.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see him go. I'm glad that you were treated differently and you still, but maybe he was pissed off because I was pushing on and wasn't going to just let him, it seemed like they just wanted to do like Addison Lanham's case, just throw a plea deal at me. And I'm like, I'm not going to shut up if you're going to just do that. And it's going to be treated like an assembly line. Like, well, we got all these other cases. I don't give a damn how many other cases you got. Right now, mine's the most important, damn it. So they didn't like me very much, And
hey, I would have done the same thing, Cynthia. But I have to say this, early on when all this transpired, I remember Locke Bell called my mother and I in. And this was before any trial or anything. And Locke Bell and Stephanie Hamlin called my mother and I in, and he let us know the situation as far as legally what could be done. And I remember Locke looked at me and he said, as far as time, because that's what we were talking about, how much time was they looking to give him. And I remember Locke Bell said, well, Shellie, what would you like, as far as this goes? And I remember looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I hit the table and I said, listen, I want nothing less than his life. He took my sister's life and I want his life. I believe in an eye for an eye. He took her life and I wanted nothing less than his life. Sadly, I wasn't able to take that or have that by the state, but I was able to put him behind bars because, see, that's why I wouldn't give up. I think a lot of times, Cynthia, with all the games he was playing, I think a lot of times if they were just getting tired of it, that they just didn't know how many more times they could push this trial through or how many times we could pick his trial up and retry it. We're going to retry it. We're not going to stop. I made that clear that that's not an option. We're going to try.
Right.
I didn't care how many times we had to retry it. And I
Right.
remember we were on our third try, and I didn't care if we had to do 5, if that's what it
Right.
took. But we wasn't giving up.
Good for you. Good for you. And like I said, you were my inspiration because I was sort of in a brain fog, and I, you know, I have mental illness anyway, and so when I went and got on meds, it kind of kept me, in a fog. And then I watched you, and I followed the case because y'all's was being tried before mine, and they kept telling us that they had to push hours back because things were happening with your case because of Danny, and I was really interested in watching you, and I thought that's how I'm going to be. I'm going to be a fighter. I'm not going to just sit here on these damn meds and just let them tell me, well, they got 8 years. I was like, no, I can't do that. I got to be like her,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
thank
you have to put up
for
the
your
fight.
inspiration.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
very much
thank you, Cynthia. That's very sweet of you. But you had to be the fight for her. You had to be her voice. She was such a sweet girl. When the other day I was actually looking at her pictures, and I
Thank
think
you.
I remember her from school. But the house that you went to the other day, and you were showing online, that I ride by that house a good bit from time to time, and it took a good while before I realized the people that were all involved with her case, like
Yeah.
David Wright. I mean, I knew David Wright was a guy that had been in Gaston County for a good little while, probably all of his life, and he actually used to date my husband's cousin. So
Mhm.
that's how I knew David Wright. But I had no idea that your daughter had any affiliation at all with them.
Yeah.
Your daughter did not even seem like the type to have even ever been around them. I
Thank
mean,
you. I
she
appreciate
just
that.
didn't.
She, I think she was hanging around with David Wright's son, and I think there was 3: the grandfather, the father, and then the son, all living in that house on Brown Street. And I think that the son went to Hunter Huss along with Michael Hembre, which is Danny's son. So I think they were all friends, Shellie.
Isn't that just so
Isn't
bizarre?
that so bizarre?
It is. It's
There's a
very
reason
bizarre.
why we were brought together, for sure.
And in a sense, it's kind of scary because now instead of having 1 or 2, we have a pack.
Yeah.
We have a pack of them. And I mean, if you think about it, that's really scary. And there's another young girl who's killed there in Gaston County. I can't quite remember that little girl's name, but there was a guy with the last name of Simmons or Simons that was connected. That was her boyfriend. And they've never found out what happened to this young girl. This young girl has been missing, and they still do not know where she's at. They still don't have any information. And I really feel like this young girl is dead. She's probably not alive because it's been so long. I just can't imagine that she's alive somewhere. And
Is this the Gaston County missing woman that's been a while? Is this the same one? Because there's one that I've even getting notices way up here on, and it's like I don't know, I can't remember if she like went out and then just never came back. And when those instances happen, I wonder if it's like a car embankment crash, where they just go down in a ravine and you never see the car. I wonder if it could be something like that and not necessarily a murder,
Well, with this young girl, she didn't drive.
Oh, okay.
And she did have some disabilities, but it was nothing that was really holding her back. I think this was more mental, maybe some post-traumatic stress or something along those lines. Nothing that would have been debilitating or anything of that nature that would have held this little girl back or anything that would have made us question even her actions. But this little girl has been gone a long time. and no one is able to say where this girl's at, or what happened to her. But that might be something you want to look into, Cynthia, because
Let me write that
that
name down real quick. Okay,
that is a
what's
case that I still frequently think about because they've never had any closure in that case.
let's see.
And there's also another case
Give me
that
that.
I'm
Give me that
personally
name
dealing
again,
with.
real quick. What was that name again?
Huh?
The first one. What was the name again?
I can't quite remember her name, but I
Okay.
remember the last name of her boyfriend was Simmons. It was
Okay.
Simon. But I can send you a
Okay.
link to that
Okay.
case from YouTube. So when we get off here, I'll send it to you. But I'm
Okay.
actually dealing with a case right now with a good friend of mine. Her son was going down 85, our local interstate down here, and someone just pulled up and shot him right in the head, killed him right there. And we're still looking for the murderer in this case. We do not know who's killed her son. And
Wow.
as mothers, you know,
You don't
I
stop till you
sympathize.
know.
I know, and knowing her, she's a very strong person, and she will never give up on her child. So I'm hoping in due time, and maybe getting her story out, that I pray that some closure will come to this because we
anyone that
still don't know.
anyone that I can help, send them my way. I'll be glad to bring them up on panel and let them tell their story. And you know, YouTube is a big platform. I might only have 8 in chat now, but by the end of the night, there'll be 100 people that have seen it. So
Yeah,
it'll get word out. So you never
yeah.
know. So all we can do is try. I mean,
Well,
we
I
have
think it
to
would
do
be wonderful
something.
for her. It would. I do. I think it would be wonderful for her. I think she's out of town right now, but I will speak with her about it, Cynthia. And I think it will be
Okay.
great for her to do that, maybe, and maybe us highlight Uriah McCree's story,
Okay.
because he was a wonderful young man. Uh, he was such a handsome boy. Um, he was a really good kid, but like most teenagers, he had issues from time to time. But all teenagers, they're just going and learning life. They're just now having fun. They're just now able to experience things. She understands, like we understand. Our children are not perfect. They make mistakes. But nothing Uriah could have ever done was deserving of what happened to him that day. And we're still praying and looking for some justice in that case, because we just can't get any peace until there is justice brought to that case.
When all this happened, how did her children take it, your nephews?
How did my children take it with the
Her
loss of?
Randy's children. Well,
Well,
now
with Randy's children, her oldest son, I would say he took it the hardest, because the middle child, he was still very young, and her youngest child, he was still very, very young. But for all of them, it was hard for all of them. I mean, it was. But I would say it was the roughest for her oldest boy, Dylan, her oldest
yeah,
son. It was tough for him
yeah,
because he knew his mom, and he loved his mom. And, he knew things had changed forever.
yeah.
So it was very devastating.
When my grandson was going to school, the kids would pick on him about it. Can you believe that?
That's very sad.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I
very, very
thought,
sad.
geez, so we moved, we moved a lot. Whenever
Yeah,
crap like that would
that's very
happen.
sad, but that's where parents should come into play. I think it's very important as parents that we teach our children to be understanding of what other people are going through, because we're not all dealt the same cards in life, and
Hmm.
I always want my children to sympathize with other people. But as parents, I think we should always talk to our children, because when children do these things, I don't blame the children. I really blame the parents, because
Right,
when children do these things, in most cases, not all cases, but in a lot of the cases, that tells me the raising that child's had. Just like
right.
when my children go to school and say they showed out at school, that would tell the teachers that those children do not have good home training. So
Exactly.
when kids act this way, it just tells me that parents are not doing their jobs. And if it happens, you should be able to go to that parent and say, listen, this is the things that's happening. And that should never happen again. But if it
Right.
does, that's when you know the parent's not doing their job. And that's sad.
That's so true. I was reading your post on Facebook pretty much about trolling, right? People being a
The
troll.
what?
The trolling when people are like, your post on Facebook today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that
Get
earlier
that on
today.
YouTube every day.
I don't get on Facebook much anymore. I used to. I'd get on there daily, but I just don't get on there as much as I used to. But I'm telling you, honey, it is some entertainment. It is some entertainment.
I'm
It
not
is.
sure, isn't it? It's like, I can't believe they're acting like that. Well, in my community, it's supposed to be a networking community where we share each other's information so that we can build stronger. Well, in the true crime community on YouTube, it's elementary school. Why were you over in so-and-so's chat? Well, why were you over there? Well, aren't you friends with so-and-so? It's like, are you for real? She was talking about fucking hormones, so I went and watched her. Stupid shit like that. It's like, I'm going to go watch whoever the hell I want to watch because my husband is a veteran and he fought for my right to. So shut up. You know what I mean? Thanks for the vent. I had to rant for a minute.
Yeah. But, you can't let anybody hold you back. If like say you're doing a great thing, Cynthia, by, building this channel up. And if you'll notice that I'm just saying, as it gets bigger and you start doing better and better and better, that's when the ugly's going to come. You're going to have to take the good with the bad, but don't let them get to you, because that just tells me you're obviously doing great things, and they just don't want you to talk about it. So just don't ever let anybody hold you back from anything
Thank
you want
you.
to do. You do it.
I appreciate you so much. I've missed you.
I've always had to have a tough skin. I've always stood alone, and I'm okay with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
Because it's taught me to have a tough skin and to stand
Yeah,
alone.
I'm like, I
mean,
made it out of
does not
Gaston
bother me.
County. I'm tough.
I've just always been okay with it. I'm good with standing alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go on that note. I'm about to sweat to death under these lights, so I've got to go take off some clothes.
Well, I've really enjoyed it, Cynthia.
You too.
I
And if
really
you want to
have.
come back and shoot the shit with me sometime, I'd love to have you. I love you to death, and you're
All
so
right, I love you too,
inspiring.
Cynthia. And if you need me for anything, you just give me a call. You still got my number.
Same here. Same here. We love
All
you
right.
guys. Tell
All
Larry
right,
bye-bye.
love you too.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Cynthia.
Okay. Okay, guys. I'm getting so hot under all these lights. I'm going to go ahead and close out. And there's only a few people in chat, so hopefully those who missed it can come back. And if anybody had any questions, I'll go ahead and answer those real quick. And try to read chat here real quick. My husband keeps trying to cover my face with these banners, and I keep trying to take them right back off. We're not in sync today. Anyway, so tomorrow morning at 11, I'm going to be interviewing Carolyn. She is Erica Parsons' mother, and Erica Parsons went missing for several years, and then it was discovered that she was murdered by her adoptive parents. And so we're going to talk to the biological mother tomorrow morning at 11. So y'all come on back.